a little background on our school, on AMSA. We're a free public charter school. We're not a private school. I tell prospective families every year. I even have friends to this day who I've given the same response to numerous times. They still can't quite grasp it. There is no tuition. There's no private aspect to this school. It is a free public charter school. We have an enrollment of 966 students. That's a that is a number that is capped by the state. So that is a purposeful number right there. And that's why we have a lottery. Charter schools that have a limited enrollment size, they have a lottery in cases where they have more applications than seats available. And again, Ms. Edwards will talk specifically about the lottery process toward the end of the presentation. Core towns, which I mentioned during my intro: Clinton, Maynard, Marlboro, and Hudson. But we do come from around 30 different cities and towns around the state that are represented. And last time we surveyed families, there were around 50 different languages represented at the school, which speaks to our school's diversity, which is great. It's a very welcoming and supportive climate, as it says here, learning community. And we, as Dr. Mobley, touched on, we are a community in a school that does have very high expectations. We mean what we say. We hold our students to high standards. We hold our staff members to high standards. Our administrators hold themselves to high standards. And we balance that with support as well. It's an environment where we're providing everyone with the best possible opportunity to succeed and explore their pathways into the future after they walk the stage of graduation. We want to make sure our students had a great experience where they could learn as much as possible, socialize, make new friends, develop great partnerships with the community, and then go off prepared to succeed in whatever their next steps are. Says here we work hard and play hard. I do think I'll get into that a little bit. We have so many activities, so many academic clubs, extracurricular clubs, activities that take place after school. Sports program is thriving right now. We've come a long way. We are a reputable sports program across the board, which I'll get into. And that's where the play hard aspect, I think, comes in there. Then working hard, like I said, that speaks to our high expectations in the classroom and the academic program that we offer, which we think is second to none. It says here, new building project. We do have a building that is under construction right now. It's in the preliminary phases, if you will, maybe entering into the secondary stage soon. And that project is expected to finish up in, I believe, January of 2025, December 2024, that time frame. Don't quote me on that. Things can change in the world of construction, but about a year or so from now, we're looking at having a brand new academic building, which will have 5 brand new state-of-the-art science labs and 5 very nice sized classrooms. We're a unique campus. We have 3 different academic buildings right now. We use 4 Kicks, which is an athletic facility on our site, not part of our campus, but in the same sort of same sort of area, if you will. It's a nice, easy walking distance, and we use that for physical education and our athletic programming as well. As I mentioned earlier, every member of the AMSA community, we're expected to bring their best to work or to school each and every day. Trying to click on to the next slide here. Let's see if it happens. All right, so we have some mission and core values. If you look on our website, it is quite comprehensive. I think you'll find all the information that you need there. But just to quickly go through our mission statement, there are 3 key aspects we always like to point out. It's the only mission statement I've ever seen, I think, for schools that mentions the celebration of knowledge, just that terminology of celebration. Children of all backgrounds, all abilities will excel in all subjects. And then empowering our students to succeed in the modern high-tech world is how it's actually worded. This is something that we're a mission-driven school, I would say. We talk about this a lot. It's not just a statement that sits on our website or is plastered onto our walls that we just walk by every day and ignore. This is something that we really do talk about. We talk about challenging students, helping them meet their potential or even go beyond their potential the moment they walk onto campus here. Celebration of knowledge, I think, speaks to our teachers' enthusiasm and their passion for their subjects. And I think that our students that that I've been talking to for years, what engages them the most, they say, are the teachers who are truly passionate, truly care about their subject matter, and have a high level of content knowledge as well, and bring that into the classroom, and that just rubs off on the students. And that's the type of environment that I believe that we have at AMSA. We do provide students with opportunities through 6th through 12th grade to, of course, collaborate, work in groups, work in teams, take parts in all different types of lessons, where they're going to need to work together and learn from their mistakes, learn from their failures, and reinforce the positive aspects of what they're doing, so that when they're ready to leave AMSA upon graduation, that they are ready to take on the next stage, whether it's college, the military, or the workforce, that they'll be ready to go. They'll know how to work with other people from different backgrounds. Like I said, we have a diverse community here. Students, they're meeting each other. They're from different towns, different backgrounds, different, groups, different cultural groups, different races, different, everything you can imagine. Just the diverse, rich environment where they will be exposed to quite a bit, and they'll be ready to go by the time they graduate from here. I can assure you of that. Our core values: integrity, excellence, and community. These are 3 core values that were developed a few years back, maybe about 6 or 7 years ago at this point. This involved all of our stakeholders' voices. We had a consultant, come in, and we collaborate as a community: parents, students, teachers, administrators, the board of trustees. Everybody got together, and after all the interviews, all of the discussions, we narrowed down our core values to integrity, excellence, and community. These values are items that we talk to our students about each and every year at the beginning of the year, and it's also these are values that I like to point to during conversations with students or staff members, to point out successes, or maybe when someone makes a mistake, you kind of remind them of where we stand on our core values. And we learn, it's just an opportunity during those learning moments to use our core values as a discussion point, to remind everybody of why we're here and how we operate at AMSA. Academic life. So if you do enter into the lottery and you do earn a seat through the lottery, so now we're getting into the academics and more into the nitty gritty here. If you get a seat if you earn a seat in the lottery, go through that process, and you accept your seat, all students will take a math placement exam. Again, I just want to remind everybody, there's no exam to get into AMSA. It's a free public school. I get many questions about, if you have to pass some sort of exam to get into AMSA and things of that nature. I just wanted to clarify that. Lottery process, you enter into that. It's a random lottery. You get your seat. The child accepts the seat. All students will take a math placement exam, and that helps with determining their preliminary math leveling. There's opportunity to move to a higher or lower level. We understand, and our math department is well aware that, not one math placement exam will dictate, the remainder of a student's career and, their math education at AMSA. It is a starting point. And then our teachers, and especially in the middle school, they're very data driven. They do talk quite a bit. They are really keeping close tabs on the student performance early on in the year, and we'll make any adjustments. And that's a collaborative effort that involves communication from our teachers to the families, and discussion, any meetings if they need to take place, based on data and performance. Every student will take a reading assessment to see it through a new program that we'll be using this upcoming year called iReady. And that will just be to help us determine if there are any reading supports needed for any students that are entering school. We have a reading teacher, full-on reading program at AMSA, who would take on any classes featuring students who are in need of reading support. And then the WIDA screener is based on our home language survey. Anytime the home language survey is, and I'll go into this a little bit more later, if there's any notation of English, a language other than English being spoken at home, anything of that nature, students would be eligible to then be screened through a screener called WIDA, W-I-D-A, and based on the performance of that, the student, depending on their performance, if there's more English language needs, we do have a full-on ELL program. We have an ELL director right now, Miss Indrasano, who will be at the January information night, who will go into more detail then. But she would administer the screener and communicate with families based on the student's performance. Moving on to sixth grade, just to give you a quick picture, quick snapshot into what a day looks like for our sixth graders. The everyday classes, pre-algebra, all students will take a pre-algebra course. And again, leveling is determined, preliminary determined off of the math placement exam. Computer science is an everyday course, which I think is quite unique for sixth grade. English and history, everyday courses. Every other day course is Latin. All students in grades 6 through 8 at our school take Latin. That is something that was part of the original charter application when AMSA started back in 2005, and we stick to what that charter application stated back then, that all students will take Latin in grades 6 through 8 for their foreign language. By the time the students get into high school, 9th grade, we call it the upper school here. The students have a choice at that point to continue on with Latin, or they could take Spanish or French. Latin is also a language that I believe the reasoning behind having Latin as the world language that students take in the middle school had to do with how it does help in the field of science and mathematics with the vocabulary. It is beneficial to learn the language for those who are looking to get into the STEM related fields. Biology is an every other day science class in 6th grade. We have a reading and writing workshop class, which is run through our English department, which meets every other day. And then there's art and physical education and health for our students every other day in 6th grade. Moving on real quickly to grade 7, you'll see a little bit of a shift here. Algebra 7, history and English will be everyday courses. We introduced geometry in 7th grade. Computer science then becomes an every other day class for 7th graders. We stick with Latin, as I said. We introduced 2 new sciences along with biology, chemistry, and physics. We have art, and we have phys ed and health. Grade 8, Algebra 8 and English are the everyday classes, and then you'll see there's another addition to the sciences, biology, chemistry, physics, and then we introduce earth science in 8th grade. Computer science, geometry remain every other day. We have health and PE, art, Latin, and history at this point becomes an every other day course. I did throw a slide in here about grade 9. Grade 9 students, or students who are entering in as their freshman year, they will take placement exams that I discussed earlier. And 9th grade students take biology as their science for 9th grade. 10th grade would be chemistry, 11th grade physics. And then those are the 3 required years for science. And many of our students take a 4th year of science, whether that's anatomy and physiology or one of other science offerings, or maybe an AP course. The student parent handbook, it features all of our academic requirements. If you have the time, like I said, please take a look at our website. You can learn quite a bit about our school on there. And then the program of studies, a very nice document at this point. It's a large PDF. You'll have to do a little bit of control F to find some things if you're looking for anything specific. We are working on making that a little more user-friendly for the future. However, it is quite comprehensive, and you will learn quite a bit about what we offer academically at the school. You'll get a nice feel for our programming for the high school level. So, all right, directed study program. This is a program for our lower school students, and I mentioned earlier, I've been saying middle school. It says middle school there, and I mixed up all the time. At AMSA, we have a lower school and an upper school. Lower school is middle school that you're all used to, grades 6 through 8, and then upper school is high school, grades 9 through 12. So All of our students in grades 6 through 8 take part in directed study course each and every day. There's a 45-minute block. It happens to be H block every day. It's an opportunity for students to complete homework and sort of treat it as a study hall if they wish. But there's also a nice opportunity here. The vast majority of the middle school, or I'll start saying lower school, the vast majority of our lower school teachers are free or have a directed study during H block each and every day. Now, what this does is if I'm a student and let's say I'm in, Miss Edwards' math class and I'm in class that day for math, she's going through a lesson. I'm not really following along well. I'm not really catching much of the material. I need a little more extra support. I can reach out to Miss Edwards after class and say, Miss Edwards, can I come see you during directed study time? She would write me a pass in advance right there, and I would hold on to that. And then when directed study period hits later on in the day or the following day, I would show my directed study teacher during H block. I would say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so, I need to see Miss Edwards for some more math help. Here's my pass. It's signed by Miss Edwards already. My directed study teacher signs off on that, and I go visit Miss Edwards. And that may be a one-on-one, tutoring or extra help session, or it could be small group. It could be, maybe 5 students go over there to get help from Miss Edwards, and I'm just a part of the group along with everybody else. It depends on the day, depends on what's going on. But that's sort of how the program works. So in addition to just being sort of a traditional study hall where you can catch up on homework, it really is a nice opportunity to visit teachers and get some extra support. We do have an advisory program. It does occur. It actually occurs on day 4 now, which probably doesn't mean much to you all right now at this point. But once every 8 school days, there is an advisory period that takes place during directed study. And these are sessions that focus on character building, maybe lessons around our core values or on responsibility, integrity. There's a bullying prevention week that they've focused on in years past, managing stress, making good decisions. Things of that nature are these themes that go on throughout the year. And again, that's once every 8 school days. We do feature the advisory program, which is overseen by our school counselors over in the lower school, but they work in collaboration with the directed study team. Okay, student life. Many opportunities here to socialize and connect. There's social events. There's we've had dances, games to attend, competitions that all students could attend. Our PTO is fantastic. They usually run very nice events for our new families to try and get them connected. I know one year they ran an event at, I think it was Kimball Farms, inviting all of the brand new AMSA families to come by and, spend time at Kimball Farms and then connect with other new families and develop, friendships, partnerships, relationships before the school year started. So they've done things like that. They've had other methods of trying to connect new families with our veteran families. Just to be, an extra set of support for those of us who are brand new to AMSA. Some of our clubs, some examples of the middle school offerings. We have a robust drama society at our school. I'm not sure of the exact number, but it is a great program, great opportunity if your students are into acting or just to plays and stage work and things of that nature. We have a middle school math team. Club called Money Wizards, Science Bowl, yoga. I don't think is running this year, but it has run in years past. There was a lower school yoga club that met after school. There's a Leaders of Tomorrow group, which is all about service leadership, community service. It's a fantastic program. We have a fencing club program, and a Latin club that, again, I'm not sure if that one's running this year. But I left it on there just in case it is, because you'll see later we have around 60 clubs, and it's tough to remember off the top of my head on the fly in the middle of this presentation. Plenty of field trips. Middle school students, lower school students, each grade level will at least have 1 field trip per year. They're allotted, or we kind of account for 2 field trips per year. Some years maybe the timing doesn't work out and a grade may only go on one trip. I can tell you that our sixth graders have traditionally hiked up Mount Wachusett together as a group, as a way to build community and kind of persevere through the tough elements together. And they take a nice picture at the top and have lunch on top, and then walk their way back down. That's a traditional trip that we hope to continue. Maybe if it's not in the sixth grade, at least have it in one of the lower school grades moving forward. So there's always something to look forward to, sixth, seventh, and eighth grade when it comes to field trips. High school, we have field trips as well. Those vary each year. We have a big Washington, D.C. trip that just took place this year for our juniors. And, we've been in discussions about how that's going to look in the future. So there's many, extracurricular outside opportunities for our students. So what separates middle school at AMSA from other middle schools? So what we really I think we have to our advantage that we're on the same campus and there's a 7-year vision for those students who start in sixth grade and they matriculate throughout and they walk the stage of graduation as 12th graders. That's a 7-year pathway, right? But we're all in the same campus. Our lower school teachers and upper school teachers are very well connected. There's a lot of crossover there too. We have many lower school teachers who teach upper school classes and vice versa. So there's really a tight-knit community feel, and the teachers do stay in touch, and the administrators. We really get to know the students and develop that welcoming environment. We really get to know the students, and 7 years is a long time. Gives us a nice advantage. We know exactly who we're getting when students enter into high school. It's not like your other traditional districts where they're coming from a completely different address across town or across the city, and they're entering into the school and now they have a new batch of teachers that haven't really heard much about them or have been able to collaborate with the teachers who have them. So we do have that to our advantage. We have a rigorous course of study. As I've mentioned a few times, high expectations at our school. So there is high school level content that's covered at the middle school level. And the computer science as a core class is very important to us, and something I think helps us stand out from many schools around. We have a strong computer science program. And as I sort of mentioned earlier, even student-wise, we have a great partnership between lower school and upper school. There's tutoring programs, mentoring programs. We're actually working on a mentoring program right now where we have juniors and seniors in high school who are going to be helping out some of our lower school students who may be struggling, whether it's socially at school, or maybe they're running into situations where they're just making some, poor decisions once in a while, and we're trying to kind of link them up with some high schoolers so that they can high schoolers who set a good example and can talk to them and hopefully help them out in addition to the adults here. The athletic programs, there's many opportunities for our lower school students and upper school students to sort of be a part of the same team, or the captains of our upper school teams will communicate with any middle school teams that we have and things of that nature. There's also a peer mediation program. Any low level disputes that may occur between our lower school students, we have upper school students who have been trained as peer mediators who work on conflict resolution, again, for low level conflict before it escalates into something bigger. We do have a nice leadership opportunity for our upper schoolers to work with the lower schoolers to help them handle that, and we hope that sets a good example for the lower school students who take part in it, and I think that they appreciate it, and sometimes it's better than having to sit in front of an adult and handle your situation there. What does an AMSA school day look like? So our campus opens at 7:25 a.m. to traffic, to the cars, to buses. You can drop your student off. We have students hang out in the cafeterias until 7:40 a.m. and that's when they can actually go to their first period class. So first period starts at 7:55 a.m. each day. Eighth period, which is last period, school day, ends at 2:45. We have 8 45-minute blocks per day. So there's a lot of movement. It's a big adjustment for our lower schoolers when they first come in, but I've been here for a long time. I can tell you that after the first 8-day rotation that we go through, because we do have an 8-day rotating schedule, I would say vast majority of the students catch on quickly. They adjust pretty much right away. Some students who may have some difficulty still with the adjustment, we identify those just with close communication, and our counselors will usually work with the students who may be struggling a little bit. But I would say within definitely the first 2.5 weeks of the school year, we're solid. Our lunch blocks are quite short, in my opinion, just the way it is. I feel like around here, around 25 minutes each day, and lunch starts at 11 a.m. or 6. We go in order for our middle school, our lower schoolers. So 6th grade has first lunch every day. 7th grade has second lunch. 8th grade has the last lunch that concludes at 12:18. Behavioral expectations, I'm not going to go too in depth here, but I do want to point out that, as the first bullet point says there, we do have high behavioral expectations. If you ever want to read our 75-page student parent handbook, please feel free. Has quite a bit of information in there. But if you go through, if you get into the heart of that document, maybe 20 pages in or so, you'll start to see some of the AMSA specific policies and procedures that we have outlined at our school and the expectations. And we really, I think we do stick to those standards and expectations to the fullest extent, and really take it seriously. And of course, we know students are going to make mistakes. We're dealing with close to 1,000 teenagers, right? But we want to provide support. And when situations arise where consequences are warranted, we deal with that. And I think we do a nice job with proactive communication. We have 2 deans of students. We have a dean of students dedicated to the lower school area, another dean of students who's located over in the upper school. Though they both work, they can mingle between grades, and they help each other out. We do have 2 deans of students who deal with the day-to-day disciplinary situations that may pop up. We have a cell phone policy of the school, which we're quite proud of, and I think other schools, other administrators I've talked to are quite envious of. Lower school students, grades 6 through 8, are not to have their cell phone on their person throughout the school day. So from 7:55 to 2:45, cell phones are expected to be in their lockers. Do we search students every day and make sure they put their cell phones in their lockers? No, we do not do that. There's a trust factor there, but the expectation is that the cell phone is turned off and inside the locker. I will tell you that our lower school dean, our dean of students who mainly works with the lower schoolers, Mr. Montesian, he does not deal with many cell phone situations throughout the year. It's quite rare in the lower school. When you get to the high school level, maybe a little bit more common, because the policy is a little bit different there. But I will say we have a strong policy set with our lower schoolers, and it just eliminates that distraction. We do not, it's very rare to have a teacher having to ask a student to hand over their phone in the middle of a lesson because they're texting or they're on Instagram or whatever social media site that they like to use. It's extremely rare in the lower school grades because everybody knows the rule, and I think we communicate it well. We do have a school uniform. I think it's great. Makes things very simple. I was just talking to a group of sixth graders today, asking them, a group of sixth graders, asking them for some feedback about their first 50 days on our campus. And they said, all of them said that they really enjoy the dress code, and it makes it so simple in the morning, and they can just put it on. They think it's very fair. We used to have some very strict dress code and uniform policies back when I first started that we really worked on together as a community to improve and make it more user friendly, and as affordable as possible for everyone in the community. And I think we're at a very nice place right now with our uniform. You can look at that information on our website. If you type in uniform into the search bar, you'll see a uniform poster, which is a nice, pictorial of, what the expectations are each day. And there's definitely some autonomy here for, for instance, we don't mandate what types of shoes students have to wear during the day, whether it's Nike or Adidas or, dress shoes, just as long as they're not flip-flops or anything that's unsafe. We pretty much allow that type of footwear. So you can find more information. There's a frequently asked questions document. There's a poster. There's the written policy itself. So please take a look whenever you'd like. And then, as I mentioned, we do have two deans of students at the school, and there's a referral process that our teachers work through internally if they need to write up a situation for a dean of student to be made aware of something that happened in class or in the hallway or in the cafeteria. The deans receive that information. If it's not an emergency, it's something that can be typed up and sent over to them, and then they'll follow up with the student and the family, as soon as possible in a timely manner. All right, AMSA operations. Transportation, we currently have 3 fee-based regional buses, and we have 8 Marlboro buses. There is no fee for Marlboro busing at AMSA. We're in the city of Marlboro and Marlboro Public Schools. They actually provide the finances for that. Many people ask, why is there a fee based? I don't even know if I have the exact correct answers for that. But when it comes to regional busing, there is a charge for that, and that information can be found on our website. So for the core towns and some of the other regions nearby, there are centralized pickup and drop off locations. It's the regional busing does not go household to household. Because of the ridership and the numbers and the routes and whatnot. Sometimes these buses are picking up students from, say, Maynard and Hudson. So to be more efficient, there are centralized pickup locations and drop-off spots, things of that nature. Lunch program. We do have a wonderful lunch program offering different options each day. We do not have a working kitchen at the school, and we are not a school that is a free breakfast and free lunch school. We're not a part of the federal lunch program, and we also do not have a working kitchen. So we do have a catering company that's very close, very nearby, just about a mile or so away from AMSA, that comes by and brings lunch each and every day. It's a little different. I'm sure that maybe you weren't prepared to hear that, but we're just trying to be upfront with everybody right away. Lunches are ordered in advance. So about a month in advance, our lunch manager, cafeteria manager, will send an email out to all families, and you can look at the next month's calendar in the menu for each day, and you or your student can select what they would like for lunch. I believe the cost of lunches right now it's around $5 per day. And again, the food's not cooked on site. It's kept at a particular temperature. It follows all of the rules and expectations as far as transporting food to a school and keeping it at the correct temperature and whatnot. We've been working like this for many, many years. We do have a nice solid menu for our students. Health office. We have 2.5 nurses, 2 full-time, 1 part-time nurse. We have a great health office. It's located in the lower school building on the bottom floor. It looks like a little mini urgent care to me. Very nice, very clean, very spacious, and they do a great job down there. And they'll be in touch if you enter into the lottery, accept a seat through the lottery. The health office will definitely be in touch to gather up health records and things of that nature. Field trips I already talked about, and the clubs. Last time we gave this presentation, which was last school year, we had 61 clubs. I think right now we have about 58 or 59 extracurricular clubs that run after school, which sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. But the participation rate is high, and it gives students plenty of opportunity to find their interest. There's plenty of things to choose from, many ways to get involved with our community. Athletics, I won't go through all of this. We do have 23 varsity programs, 37 different teams when you count, sub-varsity programs. Some middle school specific teams that we have: boys basketball, we have track and field and cross country. Those are specific middle school teams. Each and every season, so fall, winter, and spring, there's at least one sport that is offered to all students of the school that is a non-cut sport, meaning that, when you try out for it, if you put in the effort and make the commitment to show up during the tryout sessions or the beginning of the year, then you're a part of the team. There's no roster cuts or things of that nature. And again, that's each season, there's at least one sport that is offered of that nature. We have a very competitive athletic program and do a very nice job. We have a great athletic director, Pete Jones. School counseling, our guidance counselors are great, fantastic. They handle 504 coordination. They handle some of the standardized testing, PSATs, AP testing once you get into high school. They handle junior and senior seminar classes. As I said earlier, they handle the lower school advisory program that I mentioned that takes place once every 8 days during directed study. But they're here to support all students, whether it's in the world of academics, social, emotional, college career development. They also do visit classrooms. They work in small groups. They provide individual counseling. Probably what you're used to seeing at most districts that you're coming from. I would say that our guidance counselors put in a ton of effort and really get to know our students. They are up on the top floor of the lower school building, right in the middle of all the action. Right across the hall from them are, 2 or 3 classrooms. They see students walking by all the time. They visit the cafeteria during lunches. They're checking in with students quite a bit. Our counselors are great, and they really do get to know the students, and they check in on them quite a bit. And they communicate well with our families. We do a full-on special education department. As it says here, service delivery is provided in an inclusion model. Majority of the IEP services are delivered in the general education classroom. I won't read through everything here. We do have a school psychologist on staff, an SLP, speech language pathologist. When warranted or when necessary, we consult with a board certified behavior analyst, physical therapist, occupational therapist. We have assistive technology specialists that we work with. And most of the meetings take place for those students who enter in the lottery, earn a spot in the lottery, and accept a seat. Any transition meetings, onboarding, if you will. Lynn Jarvis, our special education director, will be in touch in the spring for any students that are entering the school who have an IEP, and they'll meet to discuss and make sure we're all squared away for when the students enter into AMSA. So our English Language Learners Program, ELL program, as it says here, aims to help students become proficient in English to meet the same academic standards as their English-speaking peers, allows students to become more integrated into social settings, and better prepares them for a college environment, and even helps them as they build their careers. Sort of like the purpose statement that Miss Indrasano put together for us there on that slide. So as I mentioned, there is a home language survey that all families will fill out as part of the entry paperwork. And depending on those responses, she would be in touch to administer the WIDA screener. Here it just talks about the 2 different categories that ELL students typically fall into. And then this talks about how, again, through the home language survey, and the ELL director would be in touch with the families to discuss the ELL support program. So we have a full-on program, classes that are offered each day, depending on the student's level and their performance on the screener and on the access testing. That will determine how often the student has direct ELL instruction. All right, I'm done talking, folks. Hopefully you're still awake, and I'll pass it over to Miss Edwards.
Hi there. Thanks, Mike. So I have been with AMSA since 2008. I brought a student in. He started in 6th grade in 2008, so that was year 3 of the school. So if you've already applied, this doesn't apply to you, but everybody who's liking what they hear, if you go to the AMSA website, and that's where you apply. You go to the AMSA admissions. If you currently log on to the AMSA website, you'll get a big pop-up in the middle that says, click here to go to the website. So it will stay open through February the 2nd, 2024. And then that is a hard deadline. We cannot accept anything after the 2nd. So don't leave it too late. The lottery is generally run last week in February. we have to wait till we get some information from the Department of Education before we can set the actual date and time. So you will receive emails once we know when we can run it. So everybody gets put into the lottery. We run a lottery. You're all assigned that random number, and then everybody is put in order. So siblings of current students do get the highest priority, so they are moved to the top of the wait list. Then it's followed by students from the core towns, which are Clinton, Hudson, Marlborough, and Maynard. And then students from non-core towns, other third priority group. And then, yeah, any questions? Just send them on to me at admissions@amsex. I would like to also promote school tours tomorrow, 3:30, if you want to bring your child in to school so they can have a look round. We also do them again in the spring, so if you can't make it tomorrow, that's fine. Okay. And I think at this point, we're just going to open it up for questions. Yeah, these are addresses if you have particular needs and you want to get more information. You can contact any of these people on this page. So I do see some questions, Mike. There was a question about middle school music.
So unfortunately right now we don't, so there is we have an American music band. It is a club after school that meets. We do not have any music programming during the school day. We've attempted to look into this. We've posted positions. Due to our rotating schedule, it really was, I don't even think we had any applicants in years past, because if we had a music program that we tried to install, let's say during directed study block, that could occur first period one day, and then eighth period the next day, then seventh period the next day. It's different time frames. We've attempted it. We've tried to set aside, money in the budget to post for those positions. Has not worked out. Our schedule is extremely tight, and the way that the school started, I would just say, really didn't lend itself to much flexibility. It is tough to add a new course in the lower school levels, but it is something where the American Music Band is a great program. It's run by a man named Ed Harlow. He's a great person. I think you could probably look on our website under the clubs and activities, and you can find more information about that. And we also have a chorus. We have a chorus class for our high school students as well.
But there's a few questions in here about how many seats. So for sixth graders, we're probably looking at 135, 140. Again, it's not a hard number at this point because we need to see where our enrollment is at in February. And the numbers for 7th, 8th, and 9th, they are dependent on how many of our current 6th, 7th, and 8th graders move on at the end of the year. So when we run the lottery, we generally do not know of any seats. So it's only 6th graders who will receive offers directly from the lottery. Everybody else will be placed on a wait list for when we do find out. I'm just quickly looking at the questions. So somebody asked for how many applied for admission. Last year we had 1,057 applied. So there were I probably offered 165 seats over all 4 grades last year.
Yeah, I think we set the record last year for a number of applicants.
Yeah. No, you don't need to let me know you're coming for the tours. Just turn up at 3:30. You're heading towards the lower school cafeteria. There will be signs up for that. So the question is how many seats for 6th graders for non-core towns. So basically everybody in 6th grade is in a long line, and siblings of current students will get the offers, and then it will go to siblings of core towns, and if there's anything left open, it will go to non-core towns. So the average number for 7th and 8th grade, It could be anywhere from 0 to like 5, 6, 7. It's really hard to predict. Ninth grade is usually about a dozen or so. No, you cannot apply for year 11. The only years you can apply for are 6, 7, 8, and 9. We do not bring in students after ninth grade. I think I covered any. I don't know if anything went past.
Yeah. Well, we can stay for another. It's 6:53 right now. If anybody wants to type anything else in, or if you want to unmute and speak, that'd be fine too.
So I do have this. So this question says, so no new sixth graders for core towns that are not siblings. No, so far we have never had a year where the entire sixth grade is siblings. So we usually get 60 to 80 of the students, maybe siblings of current students, and then they will go off to go out to core town residents.
Question just popped up about sports, so yeah, I know I went through that slide quickly. I wanted to.
Yeah.
I was trying to be mindful of the clock, but let me see if I can go back to that slide.
Yeah, so I mean, I know there is cross country in the fall. Yeah, definitely. Track and field in the spring. Swimming over winter, I think, is all grades. And there is middle school soccer, basketball,
volleyball.
Yeah, there's no middle
volleyball.
School. There's middle school basketball, and we're in a unique situation where students in grade 6 through 12. Did I go past it? Students in grade 6 through 12. Since there's,
I think you've gone past it, Mike.
Yeah, I'm going back.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you go onto the website, you will see, you know, each season's laid out as to what sports are available.
I just wanted to make a statement about we have some co-op situations at our school. So, for example, we co-op in football with Maynard High School. So, an 8th grader playing football could not play for our football team, which co-ops with Maynard, because Maynard is a 9 through 12 school. Yeah. We also co-op in hockey, girls hockey, with Algonquin High School, for example. That's the same sort of deal. A 6th grader playing at it, so if it's a non-co-op, an actual AMSA sport, for example, we have soccer. 6th grader could technically, if they have the skill and they're ready for it, they could play for the varsity girls or boys soccer team as a 6th grader. Since we're in this situation where there's one principal of AMSA, I actually talked to our athletic director a few years ago about this, Pete Jones. He kind of explained it to me that since we're in a school that has one principal, but it's grade 6 through 12, 6th graders are eligible in certain sports to actually play JV or varsity. So we had some we traditionally have some JV soccer players who are 6th, 7th, 8th graders. So there's an opportunity there to try out for those sports. But again, each season there's a definite opportunity for any middle schooler. As Miss Edwards mentioned, there's cross country in the fall, track and field in the there's winter track going on right now, which is open, and then track and field in the spring. There's a boys basketball team. And again, there are other opportunities for our lower school students to try out and possibly compete at a varsity level. Again, if it's an AMSA sport that we're not co-oping in. Hopefully that makes sense.
I do see a question. Can students play multiple sports at once? That really doesn't work, because you'll find that practices and games probably are 4 or 5 days a week. So you wouldn't be able to combine the two.
I don't think you're eligible to play the same season. I don't know if you're referring to
that's the bona fide team rule. They can only play for one school sport at a time.
Correct. Correct.
Okay, I do see another admissions question. If there are more core town applicants than seats, then there is no seats left for non-core, non-sibling applicants. Yes. If you look on the AMSA website, you will see this year's lottery results are there, and there are still 250 core town 6th grade students on the wait list. So if you go onto the website and take a look, you'll see all the data there. You can see the towns that the students are from who are on the wait list, and you can see the numbers. They haven't been updated lately because individual parents can actually log in and see their position on the wait list. So I haven't updated it online, but you will see the lottery results, and that will give you an idea.
Yeah, so I was going to ask the question. So basically, what you said, the way you explained is, I live in a non-core town,
Yeah.
so only if there are seats left. Lottery basically, I mean, are for all the seats, or is there any like quota or any like reserve, like 5, 10, 20 seats for the non-core town?
No. So every application that comes in, I will put it into one of 3 buckets, if you like. You know, priority 1 is the siblings, priority 2 are the core town residents, and then priority 3 is the non-core town residents. And so we would never have a situation where, you know, buckets 1 and 2, they need to be empty before we can go to bucket 3.
Understood.
I do.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I do see a question about the cap. The cap is, this is the NSS cap. If you want the more detailed, you know, information about what it is, please look on the website. This is the information we need to wait for in the middle of February. So we do not know, we cannot plan, we cannot guess, you know, if the cap will be in effect. I will tell you that we are kind of close, but again, I don't know where they're going to draw the line this year. It comes to us from the Department of Education. And if that is the case, then unfortunately, they will say to us, you cannot bring in students from Marlborough. And we have to skip over those students on the wait list. But again, we have no idea, you know, what it's going to be, and we do need to wait for that information.
Which is
Linda,
why I'm sorry, Mr. Naki, we definitely encourage all folks who are interested in having their child come to AMSA to apply, whether you're in the core towns or you're not in the core towns, because year to year, we really don't know if we're going to hit that cap and where we can go, which is why we do have a lot of students from non-core towns, because year to year things change. So it sounds pretty bleak, but if I wanted my child to be at AMSA, I would absolutely, you know, put in for the lottery.
Yeah, the application is very simple. It just asks for your child's name and current grade and your contact information. So it takes you 5 minutes. So it is worth doing.
Linda, this question just popped up. I was going to ask, over the last, let's just say the last 5 school years, how many times has the net school spending, this question, right? Oh, yeah, that's in the past 3 years, but I think the past 5 years, have we had one situation where we were capped out with Marlboro?
One in the past 5, yeah. And I think we've had 2 in the past 8 years. So, yeah.
And then the other question regarding, will the additional building allow for more seats? It will not, because our charter is what dictates the number of students that we can accept. So the charter is for 966, and at this point in time, we have to, unless we go to amend the charter, 966 is our cap.
Yeah. The question about, does the cap affect siblings? No, if we have seats available, the siblings will come in. However, we still do have, generally, after the lottery, there may be siblings still on a wait list for grades 7, 8, and 9. And depending on how many of them there are, then there may not be enough seats open up for them.
Thank you all again for coming out tonight.